to be Maverick getting knocked out. We'll see if we follow the normal meta trends here and end up with an expected result, or if eUnited will throw us a bit of a curveball in just a second. Maverick, though, very annoying hard breach to deal with, especially with regards to this map due to how much he can get past a lot of the wall denial. And Capitao, interestingly enough, is going to be the second ban, so that leaves quite a few other things in the pool here. Now we need to see, of course, what the bans are going to be for the other side of the coin. eUnited banning out Maestro as their second and final ban, and now we'll get Disrupts on the board.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on here. I mean, that means that we're gonna have Thatcher on the board, Maverick banned out. So I mean, no wall is truly, you know, undefendable at this moment in time. You know,
Brain back in now too because of Valkyrie.
There's a lot of stuff here to unpack. So first things first, Maverick on the board. That means that you can truly lock a wall if you're able to. Thatcher's on the board, which is going to counteract a lot of that. You're probably not going to see as much Kaid play as you usually would. Capitao getting taken out. I mean, Wamai's in play, so there's obviously that counter there, but it's more than likely that eUnited just simply doesn't like dealing with what he brings to the table, especially for site execute. Maestro, we talked about that a little bit earlier, but we'll cover that base anyways. Echo's currently permanently banned inside of the league, so removing Maestro makes it to where that defender that usually sits on site and has a chance to get quite a few kills from their position is going to have to do it with more than likely a different gun.
Did see the possible Montaigne pick, but it's going to be 6 picked out. And now, of course, makes J9's pick a little bit less useful, but still, Legion has been an operative we've been seeing played a little bit more and more as of late, especially since the recent patch. Got that 1.5 times scope, so his gun is definitely a lot more capable of fragging, especially if you're holding like a tough angle and just looking for one tap or something like that. That scope can be pretty nice for that. And then utility is not all that bad, especially in very self-contained sites like this one here in the basement. There's a lot that can be lined up from a Legion if you properly deploy those mines. You can set up a whole grid, which United really wouldn't be able to get past so easily without, of course, either shooting them out, which would be a lot easier with an IQ, but they don't have that, so they're going to have to try and manually find them, and there's very little chance they'll actually do that. So J9 will more than likely find a bit of impact from this operator.
5 seconds left.
All right, well, eUnited about to get let out on the field, so let's see what's happening over on this side of the fence. Are going to be bringing double hard breach here, double soft breach as well with Rexen and Grixer, and then Yeti on the Thatcher. Operator we don't get to see too often. Those EMPs extremely influential over rounds. Recently receiving a nerf, though, making it to where he disables all of the electronics instead of breaks some and disables others. So they made it universal that he disables everyone's electronics. But they are going to be bringing, well, at least on Disrupt side, they are going to be bringing the Kaid still. We talked about that a little bit ago, as though we wouldn't be seeing too much of it, but they're at least going to bring it for the hatch play here. Should be easily dealt with from eUnited once they get to that step.
Still can potentially be tricked out by NJR, assuming he does his timings correctly, though. So no free hatch breaks coming in, and trying to get the kitchen open. They're also going to run into issues, too, as the Legion, played by J9, should be positioned just below that hatch, ready to impact trick it should the need arise. Usual Claymore goes right on the top of Oil Pit just to try and stop anyone from Disrupt from getting a little bit tricky at the end of the round here. If they want to try and lurk against them, we'll have to look for other avenues to get back upstairs and away from the turtle setup that Disrupt has for themselves deeper into sight. United making quick work of dealing with a lot of the soft destruction that they have to do to line up for an execute through the main stairs. That'll be done, of course, by Grixer himself, and there's that one right there, but not too big of a deal. All this is just posturing right now, trying to set themselves up for success later on in the round. The attempt from NJR, not really made, unfortunately, to trick it out. He pretty much just picks up his jammed one and backs away. So that's going to be the Moto hatch opened up very quickly by eUnited, only having to use one charge to do that. Second one more than likely to be used for the kitchen hatch momentarily if they aren't planning on having cans and do that.
Well, NJR is going to send a Nitro Cell sailing over towards main. Doesn't beg him too much, but eUnited starting to coil around this site. Disrupt in for these fights. Get one early on with the Nitro Cell. That's onto Grixer. The sledge now gone. Gonna make it to where the verticality is just a touch more difficult, but a lot of work already done deep inside of Armory. So Shuttle's got to be cognizant of that. Rexen lying in wait on blue for Alfama to start making his motion into the actual Moto area. Able to pick up one, but he just downs him. Actually, no, cancel that. He ends up getting the kill. Reed with the trade, though. No diffuser going down just yet, as it was indeed inside of his hands, playing outside of the Moto door as we speak. The rest of Disrupt holding down on site. They know they have the case locked down now inside of Church. Oh, able to get two is Reed at the bottom of Moto, but Kansan cleans it up through the vertical play upstairs. Still has plenty of time, just needs to worry about the positioning of these last two members, J9 inside of blue, as well as Retro inside of Armory.
Oh, smoke's still in the arsenal for Kansan here. He's going to be able to block off the blue angle. More than likely will toss his final smoke towards the arsenal angle as well, but J9 very much ready for that. He shuts down Kansan mid-grenade toss and closes out round number 1 for Disrupt. A solid start on their defense, but pretty standard fashion there. They just roll down the checklist of trying to stop eUnited. Starts it off well with a nitro cell kill and eventually deals with the players from eUnited trying to move in through the open hatches on a 1-by-1 basis. Closes out the round and now puts themselves ahead, moving them on to CCTV and Cash next.
The pick onto Grixer was really the telling thing of that round that changed everything up. eUnited was almost ready for the execute to actually go through. They were just, getting their last little loose ends tied up. They already had Rex in transition over to blue. They had most of the hatches covered in the ways that they wanted. And they wanted to try and go for that church wall execute. They just needed the vertical play to cover that from a different angle. So that nitro cell earlier on inside of the round before the execute went through was really the big deal that slowed that down for eUnited. Great stuff from Disrupt to stick to their guns and use that utility.
Take a look at the setup here from Disrupt into Cash. No reason I would suspect anyway that things would be massively different for them here. The usual reinforcements going on to the garage panels now by J9 and Reed. And JR will set up the catwalk for whoever is going to be the man to hold that here throughout the course of the round. And of course, your normal series of walls getting reinforced beyond that as well. Shuttle on the Bandit is going to look to actively try and deny presence on that wall. But at the same time, the team looking to get themselves past it is going to be split between Yeti, Alfama, and Kansan. So pay attention to those 4 players here. They will all be fighting for control over that balcony wall. You can see Shuttle standing next to it right now.
Quite a few different prongs to this for Disrupt. We have a roamer all the way across the map as well in the likes of the Jaeger, so we'll see if NJR can have an impact early on. Inside of Strip, is Grixer ready for it? I can't tell if Grixer's on the roof inside of that smoke or he is indeed on the roof. Okay, whew, I thought he was going to step right in the hallway and just get sent straight to the graveyard. I didn't really know what was about to happen right there. Anyways, Disrupt still in a strong spot. I like the deep roam here. Eventually can work their ways back to site, but eUnited seems like they really want to focus on getting the CCTV wall open to start things off.
First EMP being thrown out, actually above Shuttle here. Another one thrown over the window too. Still going to try to nitro cell out against Grixer, but it will not make an impact. At the same time, Shuttle is not able to deny any of the presence coming in through the balcony wall either. So that's going to be successfully opened by Alfama. Not a lot of success found here by Shuttle, and now he has to deal with the consequences as he falls back to that deployable shield. More than likely have to try and play from that for the rest of the round or until he dies.
Yeah, I don't really think it was in the works to keep the wall closed the entire time anyways. He falls back immediately to that shield after throwing the nitro cell outside the CCTV window. More than likely planned for him to just play for the wall to be opened anyways. So nicely done so far from Disrupt. Wasted a decent amount of time, but eUnited making progress where progress is needed. They've already got the wall open. They've transitioned into taking other parts of the map and worrying about this map control to start trying to work towards this execute. Got some drones inside of construction now as they've transitioned over to the master side.
Kansan working his way up to the roof. A few other players also moved in, like you said, from the bedroom side of the map right now, and they're not alone either. NJR still lurking down on the first floor position inside of the toilets right by the main stairs. Got a minute left here, so still plenty of time for eUnited to push themselves into the site here, but they need to be very careful of this potential roam fallback. They've already fallen victim to this once, and it completely killed their execute the previous round back on the last map, but need to make sure they don't fall victim to the same thing twice here in the event NJR decides to strike. Away from that, though, we are going to see the Selmas find success in opening up the construction wall leading into Cash. Alfama also trying to open up the bits of softball that are still remaining here on the transition out onto Catwalk, where Reed is currently holding for Disrupt. Not alone either. Going to have a player probably pushing him out in a moment. We do see Shuttle getting into the action here. He's able to take down Alfama, but Rexon takes down Retro somewhere else. Kansan finds another entry point here for eUnited, and that opens up a plant potential here. Kansan's going to go for it. The player holding top red is not able to easily resist this, while trying certainly to fire some shots through and prevent the plant, but it's not going to happen. NJR now finally committing himself to this lurk, moves in, gets himself the double, and leaves it all on to Rex. And J9 already on the counter defuse, and unfortunately for the last man standing there in eUnited, Rexon is not even going to be able to get back into the building. NJR gets the final kill as well, and Disrupt take round number 2.
That's just really, really unfortunate for there for eUnited. They had everything set
What
up
did
for
I
that
say, though,
plant to
right?
go off. What do you mean?
I said they had to watch out for that late lurk from NJR, and that's exactly what kills them.
Well, that as well as them killing Alfama for the cross outside.
Yeah, that too.
That was the two things. I would completely agree with you on all fronts. The nail in the coffin was definitely the rotate, but Alfama dying from the breach when he's supposed to be the man, handling anyone rotating from garage or trying to work their way into CCTV for a cheeky rotate. Having him die there was truly the end to eUnited. You can no longer have anything else. That huge flank, absolutely, I completely agree with you. That was the biggest portion, but Alfama also kind of playing an important role inside of that. That cross needs to be held. He ends up getting burnt off of it. Just very unlucky for eUnited. But that's 2 rounds for Disrupt. Their defense is looking really strong so far.
The cracks are starting to show in the meantime here for eUnited's attacking side. Possibly the length of this match starting to get to them as well. Had 2 maps go to full time. And this third one, possibility to go to it as well. But we're going to see eUnited step up to the plate here on this attacking side of Clubhouse. Find some rounds for themselves, although this is a map where we would expect the defenders to flourish quite a bit. At the moment, Disrupt are doing exactly that. We go to the 3rd point on their rotation triangle now. It's going to be over here in the master bedroom along with Jim. But they'll try to defend and pick up a 3rd round here. It'd be the biggest streak either team has run so far in this series if Disrupt are able to put it together.
We'll see how well it works out for them. Pretty standard stuff that we're seeing come out from them. Obviously, Malusi getting added in. This is something that we're not exactly used to seeing. Still, she's one of our most recent additions to Team Rainbow, at least inside of the competitive play. So Banshee is mostly focused on doorways, which is exactly what we would expect out of this. Don't see any inside of Cash to try and slow down someone from pushing in and getting into a gunfight with NJR, but he's still got plenty of utility to try and handle anything they throw at him. These impacts will be extremely helpful in keeping these walls closed.
They're still waiting for a chance to strike here, of course. The sledge opening up quite a bit of the outside balcony wall, but no one feeling the need to push in and actually try to flush NJR out of the situation just as of yet here. So still going to be some time before we see that eventual fight boil, and might actually not be a lot of time. We've got Alfama and Kansan both in position, getting ready to move past this now, and Alfama actually going to try and open it up from the floorboard. This may avoid that impact issue that the players have been using. NJR most notably would be able to use here to throw the impact into the floorboards, but the problem is there's also a player below them, which also, from the looks of things, is able to take care of it just as well there. So first charge going to be dealt with. Alfama unsuccessful in opening up the wall. He'll have to use the second one if they still want to use it to flush NJR out. And here it comes now. Going to see an additional impact thrown out, but no, that actually leads to Reed's death, as unfortunately he gets killed on the drawback after tossing that nade. Rexon will get the first kill as a result of that. NJR is still very much alive, and the good news is the impact did actually kill the charge, so he's still alive, but ultimately is going to be taken out there. But he also trades in the process, as both NJR and Rexon will take each other out.
That is huge for Disrupt. Even though they ended up losing 2 people, they've done a lot of damage to this hard destruction for the offense. They only have 1 Selma charge left, and that's going to change up how this round is influenced. Kansan's going to have to make a lot of decisions. Well, eUnited's going to have to make a lot of decisions overall on where they want to use this last piece of utility, because they don't have Jacuzzi done already. I mean, this is basically a one-front attack here by eUnited. You really can't change up too much. So Alfama's going to grab, or actually drop the diffuser off to Kansan. They do get a nice pick onto J9 inside of the logistics area. Drone confirms it as well, so this round looking better and better here for eUnited.
Shuttle gonna have to coming in a big way, and he does just that. Yeti has absolutely no idea what hit him, and I'm not even sure Shuttle does either. Takes him out of the game completely, brings us down into a 2v3. Shuttle's got the right idea, watching the hatch as well, but obviously nothing comes through it, so he has plenty of time to fall back and get himself into a safer position. Grixer will eventually jump down from that hatch. Nitro cell from below from Shuttle as well, now takes out Kansan. He runs back upstairs, seems to have heard the footsteps or has some other intuition that there's a player still hiding in Logi. Smoke against him. He'll finally go down to Alfama. Now the pressure shifts over to Retro with less than 10 seconds left. Can he hold on? No, unfortunately not. Grixer takes him out, and eUnited just barely squeak away with round number 3.
Oh, that was such an awkward round for both of these teams. eUnited running out of utility when they needed it most. I mean, no Jacuzzi presence, no real presence on the master balcony. It was a very one-front attack like we were talking about, and they were just able to force their way through almost everything. J9 caught off of an angle. I mean, there was a lot of things there that Disrupt could have done to have that round fall into their favor, but it was just not possible. And I mean, Shuttle, very, very large impact, but just not enough when it came down to it. eUnited sticking to their guns, able to get their first round on offense here on Clubhouse.
All right, folks. United, like I said, officially on the board, but it's a very traumatic round to make it happen. Had to use most of their hard destruct utility in trying to clear out the roam presence from J9, and even beyond that, had issues getting into the site up until the bitter end. But the news is they do finally seal the deal, so they're on the board at 1-2. The problem is, it's only one site. Disrupt can now go back to the two other sites they've already won, starting, of course, with the basement on this round. And United still has a lot of work to do in both of those departments to find wins there.
Okay, Disrupt, I see you. We're going to be going for a SSG Roam-centric setup here. Not exactly the SSG Roam, as some things have been shifted. Most notably, the Moto hatch being reinforced here instead of open. That's usually where you see everybody drop down from. But they can always escape down secret or always run all the way to oil pit. There's a lot of options to transition downstairs here on Clubhouse, especially for the defense. eUnited, though, more than likely know what's up. We'll see how they try and handle this. Do they try and attack the roam game of Disrupt, or just go straight for the execute?
Let's take a look here for eUnited, looking like Kansan and co quickly get themselves over towards the cache wall, or over towards the security wall for themselves. We're going to see... Oh, did that... No, it went off. So
it disabled it. I keep forgetting as well that it doesn't destroy them anymore. And yeah, so...
You like said something, it like tripped me up. I was like, no, it's fine, right?
I thought it fell far enough away to not be within radius. So
I thought that
bad.
for a second too. So I was like, oh, wait, nope. But they get it open. So the Selma goes off without a hitch. All 3 charges, in fact. Rex, in the meanwhile, clearing out downstairs, is going to find a nice, easy time here. Not much resistance so far from eUnited. Oh, he didn't just shoot his team's drone there as well, did he? That would be really unfortunate. But no, it looks like that's still alive, at least. And either way, we're going to see the Banshee get dealt with. Grixer's drone has ascertained the position of the player sitting behind the big blue container. Now it's just a matter of flushing that player out.
Yeah, round 4 seems to be the round of the jester because we're just getting clowned on right now. This
whole game man, it's been hard to cast sometimes. I'll give you that. Like,
listen, I'll tell you that right now. I completely agree with you. Some of the interactions that they've had are just so weird.
Some of these rounds, I'm having trouble keeping up, even with the play-by-play. It's like, wait, what happened? And like that EMP that killed the nitro cell, like happened earlier, for instance. So much crazy stuff. It's fun though, right? It's like some really crazy rounds being played out. Great show being put on by both eUnited and Disrupt here tonight. So, a little over a minute remaining, and we finally get the first kill of the round. Rexon gets himself into a duel versus Retro, and eUnited comes out on top. A few more players going to start funneling in from blue after that kill, and the advantage gets pushed even further, but not for long, though. Members of DG, most notably NJR, are fighting back now to bring it back down into a 2v3 diffuser. If temporarily has also gone down here. J9 waiting for his chance to strike, but he's just lost his only other teammate and now needs to stay alive. He knows he has control over the diffuser. He knows there's 45 seconds left. If he can run this down to timer, he might be in a good spot, but that's going to be difficult to accomplish now that he's been found out. He'll get one more before Alfama takes him out from the main stairs angle, and eUnited take round number 4. That's a tie yet again, as these teams are now locked at 2-2.
eUnited and Disrupt against each other is just something else. You know what I mean? It's like when you show up to a party and you awkwardly have to shake the man's hand that owns the house. It's very weird. I don't really know. Like the thing about it is that they catch each other off guard in a lot of different instances. For instance, like we have eUnited get control inside of the bomb. Well, not the bomb, but the site area inside of Dummy's box, and then all of a sudden we just have Reed like transitioning through the rotate hole around to contest him. There's like a very lot of weird things just going on that you really don't see. I mean, on that site in particular, we're really used to seeing, okay, you know, you clear out top, you either go for the blue dirt pinch and try and get a diffuser down or something along those lines. eUnited kind of just killed everybody, and then it's down to one man left on site. I mean, it's just some very, very weird instances here in between these two, but they are going to be going back to some down home, regular Rainbow Six Siege. We're playing downstairs. We're reinforcing the hatches. We're going to be using Electro Claws probably to try and keep them locked down unless Yeti has something to say about it. Let's see if DG can make something happen this time around.
So for Disrupt, of course, they're going to call that last round as a fluke and feel that they can get the repeat success when they try this one for a second time. Technically a third time, of course, but in this chain, it's the second time. Time to see if they can make it happen and get their lead back under their own control with a 3-2 scoreline. If not, it's going to be eUnited. Probably repeating a lot of the same things we saw in the previous round to try and push them in front of the pack right now. It's a very turtley setup here as well. We've got 4 players on site holding for the most part. Actually, all 5, I think. Miscounted there for a moment. That's how late it's starting to get. Couldn't discern from the 4 to the 5, so... Oh yeah, it's gonna be a pretty heavy turtle setup from Disrupt deep inside. Take it away, Stokes. I'm gonna mute myself for a moment here.
It's all good, buddy. Yeah, you know, the eyes are starting to get the crust around him. I feel you. Don't worry about that. So eUnited making some good work here on their offense so far, and just need to worry about these hatches for the time being. But Grixer's going to get picked off quite early here. Don't know exactly where that happened. It seemed though as though Shuttle was able to kill him through the vertical play. So that's a skeleton key off the board, and they didn't bring Sledge. This is a very important... Wow, very, very unfortunate for him. He probably thought that was one of the safest ways to get, you know, the kitchen broken up there, and it just didn't happen for him. Very nice stuff. That's something that you can only do with Buck as well. So a Nitro Cell comes in, might be able to get the kill with the impact, but no, he only gets the hard destruction. That's the exothermic down, but Alfama's also down. Nitro Cells, none of them right now downstairs, all except for NJR, but he's nowhere near. He's all the way over inside of Moto. So this is just, again, a very awkward, you know, shake of hands in between these two, as we're just seeing things that we're not used to seeing.
Huge amount of top-down battle happening there, as you just saw, of course, on the inside of Arsenal. First attempt from NJR to try and trick things out. He immediately draws it back, though, knowing that it's not going to work, and we'll fall back to the inside of Church. That's another hatch opened here for eUnited. Gives them Moto control to work off of here to eventually start pushing into the site, and they'll definitely need to start looking for options to do that. With a little over a minute left here, they definitely need to start transitioning from the first floor down to the basement. A lot of resistance still in play, though, and they're down a player. So eUnited, while needing to take that control, also needs to be very careful about how they do that, as every step they take towards that is more than likely a step closer to one of the players from Disrupt that's holding an angle against them. And they can't really afford to lose any players, at least in an untraded fashion, when they're already down by 1.
Well, the real big issue for eUnited is that drone economy and a possible pick here, but Rexham walks right to the angle, able to pick up 2 from Blue. He knows that one's more than likely playing dirt, but NJR fires back first. Yeti now down as a 2v3 for eUnited as Alfama's transitioned all the way deep into Armory. He also has the diffuser as well. They're able to cover this. This could be a plant, and it would be a desperate need for them right now, as they need something to force these defenders into more favorable gunfights. Rexon gets lit up. He's now down to 1 shot, but oh no, he ends up actually getting lit up from behind. It's down to Alfama to try and clutch things up, but he's on low HP as well. This could be his last gunfight with Shuttle inside of dirt. Doesn't have a beat on NJR either, as these two stare each other down, but he now knows where he is. And bad news bears, folks, he doesn't have very many bullets. Reload, throws the stun grenade through, but it doesn't even matter. NJR from behind shoots him with the slug, and that's a triple for NJR on the round.
TG just really being mean in the 2v1 right there, making it such an awkward duel for Alfama, trying to figure out when, where, and how the push was going to work itself against him. Alfama trying so hard to open up any possibility for a kill on even just one of those 2 players, but it's not to be found. DG do a beautiful job of making sure they have absolute certainty in the closeout in the 2v1, and as a result of that, Disrupt go right back into controlling this match as well, now with the lead at 3-2.
Let's go back and talk about that Buck play just a little bit downstairs. I really like what eUnited had done with the Buck. They treated it like you treat Consulate. Sometimes if you're going to take Buck there, you can open to the CEO office and open up the piano angles the same way that they were doing right there. So he goes up to logistics, start popping open the floor so that he's able to, you know, do soft destruction downstairs, and most notably, not have to worry about nitro cells. Nobody's going to be able to nitro cell him if he's Buck all the way upstairs inside of logistics, right? Well, they can still shoot you, and that's something that I don't think anybody was expecting, including Grixer. So, again, that's just the thing that we've been talking about throughout this entire series. Just very weird things happening to both of these people, or both of these teams, after they've already accounted for something else.
And a massive amount of mind games having to be played between these 2 teams as a result of so many of these awkward kills or just awkward engagements happening. Attackers specifically need to kind of give second thought to everything they do because of what Disrupt has been doing from their defensive side. And even to some degree, eUnited has been doing from their defensive side as well when Disrupt is on the attack. So it's made for a very fun to watch series more than anything else, but definitely a lot of question mark moments that's been going on throughout the course of these 3 maps so far. Disrupt, though, controls it, and are going to look to really seal the deal here on their 6th round. If they can make it 4-2 here, they'll be in a great position to try and control this, but the round's not going to get off to too great of a start. Kansan catches Reed. Whether that was on a run out or from another position, I am not too sure, but there was definitely players from Disrupt trying to get aggro, and yeah, it did seem indeed like Reed was trying to position himself for something aggressive and was certainly punished for doing so.
Okay, so they had Reed have an FMG9, which from retro transitioning into here is going to tell me that he was supposed to play upstairs inside of Garage. But obviously can't happen anymore. I like the setup idea with the Toxic Babes. He's going to be able to keep the staircase locked down for a long, long time, especially with J9 downstairs. But losing your smoke so early on, especially after you already ran 2 people outside, I understand what they're going for. They're trying to get the early pick, but it just didn't work out in their favor at all.
Shuttle still waiting for any opportunities to frag out, and he's been finding quite a few of those so far throughout not just this map, but the series. Specifically on the Bandit has been finding some pretty good impact for himself, so don't count him out just yet, despite the fact that the wall's been opened and his utility has found pretty much no impact here. Retro trying to go for a quick headshot on the SMG, but not going to find it this time around. Kansan panic repels down regardless to try and avoid that, but immediately retakes the same angle that he had been holding a moment ago. He's not going to be alone in this for too long either. It does look like Rexon's going to be joining him up on the balcony any moment now. They've got a Claymore on the garage door. Don't need to worry too much about runouts from that department anymore. They still need to worry about clearing the player on Catwalk, though, in addition to the ones that are going to be more obvious for United back over towards Cash.
Well, I'm glad you said that, John, because it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. They had Rexon switch out for for Kansan on the rappel so that he was able to get some garage panels underneath J9 to make this garage execute a little bit easier. Bad news for J9, though, is this position is your hill to die on, my friend. You just get to play here until you die. So we'll see how well you can do. He doesn't have a rotate back into sight. It's simply sight lines for the breach, but he also has to worry about that window. This is why you're mostly stuck around the R2 area when you're fighting up here, because stuff like that happens. You try to transition to R1, the breach is open, you're like, oh man, I want to run back to R2, and then somebody shoots you from the garage door. And all of a sudden, not very fun for the defense. And mainly because, oh no, is it going to be botched? No, NJR still gets it after he takes down Yeti. Oh, very scary, engagement there for just a second.
A much-needed kill, though, for Disrupt, as they had been falling apart up until that point in the round. At a minimum, it's going to give slight pause to eUnited now that they've lost the player there and no longer have that prong to their attack. They still very much have every right to initiate here. It's going to come down to those 3 remaining Disrupt players to, well, disrupt the attack, not to use a funny pun there. Retro trying to Nitro Cell, but it's not in the right position, so the plant will more than likely be going down. NJR with a swing, though, knocks out 1 player on the breach. Let's make it 2? Question mark? Yeah, there's 2. And why not 3? In fact, 4 on the round before he finally gets shut down by Rexon, bringing it all up to Retro, but he unfortunately won't be able to get the job done. It's eUnited that close it out, and Rexon that seals the deal from back in Garage.
Oh, Rexon had to have a heart attack on that. Oh man, just to have him walk through Cast door and he kills the breach player as well as the 2, not only on rafters, but the bomb planter as well. Oh man, this series just keeps on giving. It just keeps giving, John. It's great.
Rexon with the guys?
Hello? That's the question mark in all chat. We're just like, hello? What's going on? Oh my goodness gracious. Well, that's going to be a transition period here for us folks. eUnited going to defense now and a 3-3 split, which actually favors them. These offensive bans are going to change things up a little bit, so I'm going to go as far as to say is this is probably par for the course at this point. Having Thatcher on the board cannot go unnoticed. Thatcher is an extremely influential operator, and even though he only disables stuff now, it doesn't mean you can't get a wall open.
Absolutely the case, and we've already seen that, well, be the case quite a few times back on the first half there when eUnited had the opportunity to use him. eUnited, of course, now on defense, go right to the basement for their defense, and we're going to see a fairly standard lineup with regards to how they're going to hold this. Of course, the Wamai will help them turtle quite a bit. Same thing with Grixer on the Pulse, which actually we didn't see Disrupt use that really too much as far as my memory is concerned. I'll write down the operators of this. I don't know that for certainty, but pretty sure. Either way, the Pulse, of course, going to add quite a bit to the intel game here for eUnited, and also opens up, even though he's the only one with a Nitro Cell, opens up kind of an ease of access for trying to get quite a few of those kills if Grixer's given the opportunity to do so. And in fact, he's going to potentially get a bit more aggressive here against the spawns, if there are any. But unfortunately for him, it's not looking like he's going to be met with much luck in that department today. Only one player spawning on that part of the map. It's J9, and from the looks of things, he is nowhere near that angle. So, Grixer's just going to back away.
Probably a good plan from Disrupt overall.
He got spotted too, so it was a good thing he backed away.
You need to dip. Need to dip on out of there. So, United going to keep all of their people alive as Grixer skims on back to site. Tail tucked between his legs, but we'll see if he can pick up some kills later on here. And he's much needed as well. Previously, as John was mentioning, not really utilized by the defense of Disrupt was Pulse, and Pulse is a really, really good operator, especially in this position. You can get so much information on what's going on with the offense from this position, and that's exactly why it's been coined the name Pulse Spot. You play it there because you can not only see main stairs, but what's going on in kitchen, and a little bit of what's going on inside of the hallway as well. There's quite a bit of information to be had. Disrupt making good progress in the meantime, though, as we bide for a time. J9 just waiting on someone to come and assist him with the hatch, and they're going to need some soft destruction to do so.
J9 just dancing out there right now. But away from that, we've got Kansan patiently waiting for the dance to conclude and for the hard breach to start so that he can try to get some tricking off here. But meanwhile, away from that, Retro nearly spotting on a player from eUnited. Not able to capitalize on it, though. A little bit off on the timing of the shots. Sort of finding yet another player playing above him. And will note, of course, there's more than likely going to be attempts made to try and open up the hatches now. Tries to fire back at it instead of throwing the nitro cell right off the bat here. Not going to find much success there either. Shuttle has taken some damage from an earlier engagement, and now first attempt to open this up is being used. Nice frag grenade, actually, as that's going to scare away more than likely anyone that would have been here to try to impact trick that and really make sure that you're going to get a confirmed opening of the hatch, as we just saw for Disrupt.
Completely agree. Some good stuff there.
Ooh.
But, well, DG taking a page out of eUnited's book as they simply walk in. They don't really need to worry about utility when they can just walk in and shoot somebody. And that's exactly what they do. They walk away with a huge kill onto Rexon. He's had so much influence here on Clubhouse, already 10, 3, and 5. And going down into this execute, softening up the area inside of blue, it's definitely going to help out Disrupt quite a bit.
Kansan with a very important position, wedged between the two sites right now, trying to watch for pressure from 3 to 4 different angles, depending on how you're looking at it here. Does have assistance on quite a few of those, of course, but he's the one that's more than likely going to have to come in and save the day in the event someone on his team goes down. Speaking of things going down, Disrupt is trying to plant kind of out of nowhere there, but it's going to be pretty quickly denied by the members of eUnited. Yeti continues to push the advantage even further for his team as he takes out NJR. The rest of them scrambling to get in. Yeti's accidentally going to knock out a teammate here as Kansan goes down, but eUnited still controlling it. They bring it down to a 2v2. J9 trying to get the plant down, but is not able to, as unfortunately it looks like it gets fumbled a little bit at the very end there. Oftentimes that does happen. It's a bit of an awkward mechanic, and as a result of that, eUnited will win that one out.
It is too late for a game like this. It just is. It's just too late for a game like this. The things that are happening between these squads are just so very awkward. I know we've been just using that phrase throughout this entire series, but even inside of that round, like they're going for a plant. Alfama still has AK control. No one's really watching over, you know, the man putting the diffuser down, Retro. There's just some missteps there from DG that could have helped them out a lot. They eventually got the kills that they needed in order to put the diffuser down, got into the 2v1, but just not enough time. It's just... I don't even know really how to put it into words. I mean, they really just got the cart in front of the horse. That's really what it was. I mean, they drop in, try and go for a plant a little bit too early, and it didn't seem like the rest of Disrupt was exactly ready for it.
Yeah, so that kind of discoordinated push is going to cause Disrupt another round here, puts eUnited in control of the map, and allows them to be in really the pole position to try and swing through, and once again to lead this series and hopefully close it out. Hopefully for them, of course. Still 3 more rounds away from doing that. The series has been a massive teeter-totter the entire way through, so there is absolutely no reason why Disrupt wouldn't be able to come back yet again and still keep this series competitive, possibly taking us to a 3rd and final overtime if we really want to go that distance with it. But United, definitely a convincing round right there, even though it came to the wire once again, even all the way down to a 2v2 at one point there. J90, he's going to take quite a bit of damage right at the beginning of this round, going all the way down to 50 HP. No response at all from him. Not that there would really be able to there due to the nice shots coming out. I think, was that from Yeti, I have to guess? Or did someone else make that damage with the drone?
It's either through the drone hole or he ended up taking damage from catwalk through the garage door. But I don't see any holes through the garage door, so I'm just going to say Yeti got him on a real cheeky angle there. And just very unfortunate for J9. Alfama going to get traded some damage as well, though, is eUnited still just held up inside of sight. DG with first contact, already working on the CCTV wall, but looks like they aren't stopped just for the time being. Still have to worry about this being EMP, and I think that's exactly what they're waiting on. Just waiting for Reed to toss one of these. NJR waiting in order to concuss this to make sure that Grixer can't bandit trick, but he never had a plan on doing so anyways. It's a pretty unique angle here through the hatches as he starts to try and put this down, but the door not defending from the concussions. He sprints out immediately to try and save his own life.
Hopefully avoid that headache from the concussion grenades being sent his way right there. Either way, Grixer not going to be able to do much about the wall at this point, so it will absolutely get opened up by Disrupt. Step 1 done, quite a few more to get through, however, and only half the round to do it. But Disrupt are still making pretty good time with things. They have no reason to panic as of yet here, especially if they're going to be able to swiftly move through Logi, control of construction, and eventually start to open things up from that side of the map too. They're already working on droning out construction. Grixer can't really swing into it anymore because the wall was left soft over towards Logi, so it's way too easy for Disrupt to pincer him if he decides to stay in there. He's going to focus on reinforcing the wall from construction instead with his remaining batteries.
Not a bad setup here for eUnited at all, and they've also got the top of the wall set up for impact trick, so this is going to be very well handled here by eUnited. Oh, they do have a beat on where the Malusi is, though. Is she going to see the drone? Oh, she doesn't. It's right to your left, Yeti. They're ready for you, son. You better be ready for this, because I don't know if he is.
It doesn't stick out, though, when you're looking at it. You'd really only see it if they were on it, which they were a moment ago. So surprised he didn't catch it, but there we go. Yeti makes a move. Shuttle's lined up for that, and bye-bye to Yeti. It's a great trade from Disrupt, great kill, I should say, from Disrupt there to bring it down to a 5v4. They've got the kill advantage. Now it's just time to make it happen. Push this into sight. But this is often time where both teams have run into a massive series of issues, is trying to actually get the plant down onto the ground. We'll find out if that's going to be the case here for Disrupt in just a moment. Grixer finds the next pick here, brings it down to a 4v4. 13 seconds remaining. There needs to be a swing from Disrupt, but they just don't have the right to initiate anywhere. They have nowhere where they have guaranteed kills. Regardless of that, though, we're going to see a series of trades. Great shot from Retro against Grixer. Alfama able to take out Reed. The plant does look like it gets canceled at the timer, and eUnited win things out as a result of that.
The offensive rounds for Disrupt, man. Oh, man. These are just very, very unfortunate. Both of these last rounds going down to the very wire and just not able to get a diffuser planted. Honestly, I thought that that was a Disrupt round through and through, and it was mostly because Yeti was the one who had the impacts for that wall. I thought once the wall was open that obviously the gunfights were going to be there, but I felt like DG could possibly make it out on top of that. But eUnited on almost every single front just ends up winning those gunfights and taking the rug out from under the opposing team once again. Walks away with this defensive round. We're headed towards Gym Bedroom now for eUnited, and for Disrupt, it's not even the fact that these executes are, truthfully being botched. It's the gunfights are just not going their way.
And so, folks, Disrupt getting pushed further and further to the brink. The good news for them, though, is they're going to go to the site where they more than likely will have the best chance of being able to finally get themselves a win. eUnited is exhausting their own options here, just like Disrupt was back in the previous half, and is now going to get pushed to the third and final point on their site rotation, which is going to be over here inside of Gym Bedroom. See how well they're set up for it, and if they're going to be able to keep the streak going with 3 rounds in a row, or if Disrupt will finally be able to break it and give themselves their own 4th round. Usual reinforcements are being set up to allow for an extended play on the inside of Cache, much as what we saw from Disrupt back on the first half as well. Very some standard stuff here, nothing crazy being brought out at this point by the eUnited setup.
Nothing crazy, but it is a little bit of a different iteration than what we're used to seeing get played around here. They aren't going to be bringing the shield for the top of red. This is something that we've seen eUnited do before, but instead they've closed off Cache. They are bringing the Clash, though, to try and play to the side of whichever side Disrupt wants to start on. Mostly we see the Clash brought when they want to play for the wall opened on Jacuzzi, so we'll see if Alfama eventually transitions over there. But for the rest of Disrupt, mostly on drone duty for the time being. What's up?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, it kind of seems like Alfama's being used almost as like a flex in that respect right now, because he's obviously by this door, but he could very easily rotate if the need should arise. Just, like this, he's going to be able to cover the construction door now. and make sure that no one actually uses that angle that Disrupt just opened up for themselves. It also gives a lot more extra security to Grixer here, who can obviously not have to worry about his back for the entire time he has to take this fight against the push from Disrupt to the inside of Cash. Alfama's even here to kind of help out a little bit if the need should arise. He's switched over to his gun. So in the event they try to, well, do that and make quick work of Grixer, you still have the Clash here for some secondary reinforcements.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to stop that Selma charge. I don't think that's possible. But you know what is possible? Alfama actually getting picked up from, I believe, upstairs. Yes, NJR playing the hatch, and Alfama just not respecting what was going on that portion of the map. Walks right into the line of fire and gets taken down. This round is looking so good for Disrupt. They just need to take their time and get this execute to go off.
Great opener, as you said, and now it's just a matter of sealing the deal and getting themselves into the actual site themselves, or itself. Retro with another nice frag, this time against Kansan, continues to push the advantage, and it's really, it's all but done at this point. There you go. I don't, man,
what are these rounds, dude?
Did Disrupt even go into the building that round?
No, they didn't. They killed everybody from outside. All except for Ace getting the wall for Cash. That's it. Oh, well, actually, no, the first kill, the grenade kill was from the top of red.
That's true, yeah.
Everyone else, though, dead from the outside.
And Disrupt handling that one with class. Like I said, not even having to really step foot in the building to win that one. eUnited fall down on that third site choice, but hopefully are going to be a bit relieved in the fact that they get to fall back to the depths of the basement for their next round, where they've had much better success with these rounds on the defensive half.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused.
Yeah, not too much depth to that last round. It was just eUnited died. It's just some very, just stuff, man. Just
Grixer
stuff.
got deleted by a nade, and everybody else just kind of got picked.
Yeah, I mean, they just walked into Disrupt's angles, and you know what? That's the thing about Siege that gets me is like you can have some overly complex round, like when Nitro Cell gets EMP'd out of the air and doesn't kill the man putting the diffuser down, or you have rounds that go like that where the defense just kind of walks into the incorrect areas, incorrect lines of sight, and they all just die, and that's it. That's the round, and there's nothing else to it. They simply just walked into lines of sight, and Disrupt was playing that angle, and they killed all of them. So good stuff there by Disrupt. Great patience. I mean, eUnited, that one's a wash. We're headed back downstairs to try something new.
All right, folks, taking a look at things now for Disrupt. We've already got them out onto the table. J9 does spawn over by the construction barricades, but at this point, he's not looking to take those out. So be some time before we see if they're actually going to try and eliminate those, or if J9's going to, of course, work himself to the inside of kitchen and just start working on the hatch immediately once he gets the support that he so desperately will need for that, as is often the case. We've got the whole battalion down here from eUnited, of course, looking to try and stop that hatch from getting open. They'll also be resisting on other parts of the map. You'll see a shuttle very quickly moving into billiards here. I'll take that easy control and start droning out to make sure that there is no other roaming presence established by eUnited elsewhere on the map.
And this is the usual way that we see people trying to get an execute to go down onto Armory. You'll see Disrupt transition into getting the hatches open soon. Blue as well as Moto, more than likely going to be handled by the Thermite, but we could always see a change up in the game plan here. They could always be going for a church execute and switch things around. We'll just have to see where the rest of these hard breaches are placed. As for eUnited, though, they were just waiting patiently in sight. And, I mean, hey, there's nothing really extra to do there. They just have to worry about trying to deny these hatches through any means possible. And that's exactly what Kansan's going to be doing downstairs with Grixer, as they're trying to hold on to the kitchen hatch.
Grixer still looking for intel, of course, from this point just below the hatch, and Shuttle trying to see if anything can be found out from the angles that he's already opened up for himself, but nothing as of yet. We'll start to do that same work from the inside of kitchen. Only just one being deployed, though. We have a Nitro Cell also getting pre-tossed out. I don't know how long ago that happened, and more importantly, if it was thrown out specifically to stop the push from Shuttle, but either way, it's going to be exploded, and we won't see any damage. Follow it up. Shuttle will continue to wreak havoc on the floorboards here, running up the construction bill for whoever's in charge of this place. And now we're going to see the impact trick start out. It does look like it got some of them, but not all of them. However, the remaining ones probably aren't enough to open the hatch. They do need to deploy a second one in order to get the hatch fully open, and that one's going to go uninterrupted. So kitchen hatch is done. Disrupt have access.
having to fight through all of those impact grenades and finally have some impact of their own. Alfama also going to get intel on what's going on inside of Dirt.
Man,
He has
Alfama.
2 M590 shots left, which could definitely assist in trying to hold down Dirt. That shotgun can lay somebody out almost in one shot. So, DG now centralized around what seems to be the church area, but quickly transitioning over to kitchen, getting set up for this plant here. NJR needs to hold on to blue, at least the rotated cross, for as long as he can. Frag grenades in towards Dummy's box. Is it going to do some damage? It does. It actually ends up hurting Grixer, but not a lot. No nitro cells to be able to stop this from going on. NJR with a big pick onto Yeti, and this is where things start to go haywire. Kills all over the board, mostly in DG's favor, including a diffuser going down. It's going to be all left up to Rexon, but they make quick work of him and disrupts with their first strong showing on offense.
Clinical execute there from Disrupt. Obviously a lot of kind of scary feelings coming up to those final few seconds. They don't really have a lot of positioning. It's not looking like they're going to be able to really bargain their way in there, even with the initial kill going their way. But thankfully, it looks like they got a lot of intel before they started that execute. And as a result of that, when they move in, they are locking things down one by one. You saw the player on top of the kitchen hatch, for example, guaranteeing that the additional defender deeper into the inside of the tunnel was not going to be able to swing out, kill the planter for free. Other players set up to guard out the other angles, like blue and over towards church, to make sure that plant goes down without any issues. And as a result of that, well, just that happens, and they're able to follow it through with a whole flurry of kills, which eventually nets them the round. Disruptive come back yet again and have tied us up at 5-5.
Very good analysis of that, because the Dirt player is the one that has to try and stop that plant. Like,
Yeah.
like really, truthfully, like it's really Alfama's job to try and swing out from that door. But as you noted, it's really, really difficult to do so with that hatch open, because everyone just plays the angle through like the kitchen table area, or like the kitchen setup thing, whatever you want to talk about. I've only worked in like one kitchen ever, and I was a dish boy, so I don't know what it's called. Anyways, that thing, the rack, they shoot through that, and usually the only other people that can try and stop something from going on is the person playing the dummies box. So for eUnited, every single avenue for them to try and stop that plant was shut down and played extremely well from Disrupt. Oh, okay. Okay, we're not going to say anything about this just yet. I want to see how this goes, because I have not seen a deployable shield setup inside of Lounge like ever, to be honest with you.
This is going to be super conditional, more than likely, depending on the way the Disrupt goes. And at the moment, they're not really executing towards it. So you can see that they've already put a majority of their players over here on the east side. Of course, they have to worry about the wall that Crixer's looking to deny here. This got dealt with pretty much with no issues last time, especially with them having Zofia. There wasn't any ADSs, or at least the ADSs that were deployed were dealt with beforehand. So Zofia's stun charges made very quick work of any attempts from Grixer to try and stop this explosion from happening. And I would imagine that the same thing would go down right here.
Well, Disrupt getting set up for the wall, and this is something we're used to seeing. Should be NJR. Actually, no, he's not going to be helping. Yeti's going to get a free kill on him as well as he hops in the secret stairs. So that's a huge pick for them. Also, update on this, did not realize NJR has 18 kills right now. That is... wow, that is something else. I've been losing my mark on what's going on these KDAs here, man. I've been so, enthralled with what's going on inside of these rounds so far. Shuttle will pick up where he left off, though, and actually Reed's going to be the one to refrag as Yeti re-peeks the bottom of the garage stairs and gets fragged out.
There are some potential problems that come with an outlier like that, though, but we'll save that discussion for another time. The analyst, I think, already brought it up in the pregame. Grixer with actually what could be a really nice angle here if Disrupt end up going into it. They may be aware of it, though. Grixer's going to end up changing his position regardless, all the way back to top right. That's actually kind of a dangerous stack of players there in red right now. So eUnited might want to try to move them around a little bit, and thankfully they agree with me. They're going to get all three of them out of there into the inside of Cache. Especially now that the wall's been opened, it's going to be a very dangerous position to stack multiple players. One frag grenade could be the end of all of them.
Yeah, the real problem is now, though, is that no one can really help Rexon in his position, and unless they possibly have some angles for the top of green box to see the staircase, he is all on his own now, and a lot of this round lies in his arms, and he's already getting lit up from outside of the breach. Rexon has to lay here at R2 for the rest of the time and try and have an impact, whether it be through kills or just wasting a lot of time. Goes for the initial frag, but pinched from two separate angles, wasn't ready for Reed downstairs, but it's Retro to actually get the kill instead. They now have garage control, and that's a very big deal. They need to get this plant down. Truthfully, Oh, actually, no, they do have it. Retro has the extra exothermic charge so that he's actually able to use it on this single panel and walk in and put this diffuser down without having to hop the window. But they're waiting on it. Diffuser's still in his hands. He's going to hop the window anyways and actually changes up exactly what's going on. They try and force it into the site. It's only Alfama, but he's got no ammo inside of the shotgun. I believe somebody's in behind him as well. Yes, somebody on the top of red as the smoke grenade goes off. Still has to worry about the people on the actual diffuser, but it's Retro to get the kill, and Disrupt walks away with round 11 and claims the lead.
Disrupt, a massive comeback being made by them here, and some really solid overall attacking strategies to make quick work of these two sites. eUnited all of a sudden doesn't have much of an answer for a lot of what's been thrown out by Disrupt just in these last two rounds, and it's gonna, as you said, cost them the lead and send them down to the basement for the final round of regulation. They need to win this one, otherwise Disrupt will be our winner in 2-1 fashion.
I don't know if this is one of the most fun series I've commentated in quite some time, or if like it's just the the late hour as well as how long this is going on. I mean, this is going to be our third overtime in a row if it happens, which is something that I don't think we've seen too much of inside of the NAL overall. So some good stuff coming out from eUnited and Disrupt, especially how it is now. These guys are kicking some butt. eUnited headed back downstairs like we were talking about before. Seems to be a very similar setup to what we were seeing before, all except for one very, very key piece here. Grixer bringing the Vigil. And this is usually a sign that there's going to be a roam game. We see it partnered most of the time with that SSG roam setup, but this is not going to be that. There is no castle being brought from eUnited. Yes, it is still going to be a roam setup, and they are going to set up all of the upstairs, but the castle barricade's not being brought to cut off a lot of the mid-level sight lines and things along those lines, as well as some pesky windows upstairs. But doesn't mean that it's not going to work. They can always use, what Grixer's using right now, the regular barricades, as well as some other things in order to get back to site. As we were talking about earlier, they can always just dip out and go towards stock, or secret, or oil pit. I mean, there's a lot of options for these roamers.
All right, well, let's see if Disrupt has the winning strategy yet again. Push them forward and net them that 7th round to end this map, and what would be the only map in this series to end in regulation time. It would be 7-5 if Disrupt could take it. eUnited, of course, want that third and need, more importantly, that third overtime here in order to try and win this out themselves. So they're going to be looking for a victory as well. A lot of drone work being deployed right now here by Disrupt. Shuttle already moving in towards the blue stairs, though, and taking control. And he's not alone either. NJR is down oil pit. There's zero resistance from eUnited to this blue take. So Disrupt at the moment are just walking right in, and more than likely will end up with control over this room uncontested. They do know, of course, that these walls have all been left soft, so they're expecting the resistance from the inside of Church and Arsenal. NJR, barely spotting out Alfama, is going to be able to continue to pepper those shots in and eventually take him down as he tries to fall back.
Yeah, it's a smoke off of the board. That's going to be a huge problem here, but they still have the Legion and the Banshees of Malusi in play, so Disrupt could still get slowed down quite a bit. eUnited now know that this is mostly centralized around a blue take for Disrupt as they're setting up for that. The rest of Disrupt, though, still setting up upstairs. Rexon going to be the last member, I believe, of eUnited to eventually dip out of the upstairs and start making things more horizontal. He is also going to get picked off, though, and it's actually Kansan that dies as NGR gets his second of the round.
See NGR continuing to wait, seeing it even from eUnited is going to try to swing, looking for a refrag. Not going to happen at this point. eUnited is remaining very passive despite the fact that they're now down 3v5 here, hoping that they can recuperate their losses on the actual execute. They may very well be able to. Grixer got a good position, but the problem is Disrupt seem to have had great intel as to where these players have been. Even when they don't, they spend quite a bit of time trying to isolate them out. NJR, great tracing capability right there to take out Grixer. Rexon does find a trade, but it's all such a small gesture at this point. Rexon alone with only 4 shots left. He's got to go for the reload here. Now in the 1v3, looking for his first of those. He downs him, doesn't confirm him, but in the meanwhile, the plant is going down deeper into the site, and he's low on ammo once again. He's got to go for the reload. He's got about 10 HP remaining to try and clutch this out as well. NJR and Shuttle, the last two standing here for Disrupt. Rexon doesn't even see Shuttle, and he shuts it out for Disrupt Gaming as they finally take control of the series after 3 incredibly long maps. This one, as I said before, the only one to end in regulation time, but Disrupt